This ain't about Corona, this ain't about Corona. The tribe just waking, we own it. Coming back to the farm, a prodigal son. His arms just open, you boneless. Babylon fall when you honor your mother. Babylon fall when you love your brother. Babylon fall when you keep commandments. You took an oath to take care of each other. Babylon fall when you put down the idols and you find out really your rival. Babylon fall when you pick up a Bible. We made an oath about our survival. They call us niggas and thugs, but we don't put down the drugs. Showing our people some love. You can get stepped like a rug. All we got is coming straight from the mud. Just wait on the day of the Lord. Messiah come out with a sword, dragging the meters around like a tool, slicing them, open them up like a whore. Keep the commandments, just wait on the day of the Lord. Messiah come out with a sword, dragging the meters around like a tool, slicing them, open them up like a whore. Keep the commandments, we right at the door.
Kingdom down, you better watch out now. Stay up, we're gonna take your kingdom down. Like this, we're gonna take your kingdom down. You better watch out now. Stay up, we're gonna take your kingdom down.
Are we on Facebook? Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. That was so abrupt. That was like, wham. Man, that song was jamming. Then she just turn it on like then she just turned it on like that. Boom! She dropped the mic. But good morning, good morning, good morning, Facebook Live. Good morning, Breaking Strongholds Ministry. Keep playing it. Good morning, YouTube. Orlando, keeping it simple. How's everybody doing this morning? Happy Shabbat, happy Shabbat, happy Shabbat. This is the day that the Most High have made, so be glad and rejoice in this. Be glad and rejoice in it. Yes. Happy Shabbat, happy Shabbat. And like I told you all, I said the Most High, He give me messages during the week, right? And I was like, man, Most High, you ain't talking to me this week. You ain't talking. What's going on? What you saying to me? And I didn't really get a lot, but I got a lot through the news media. I got a lot through other things. And he kind of was showing me a little bit this week, and I was like, man. But I want to say this to you. As I was in prayer this morning, I had to repent, because how you utilize your time is very important. Time is something that you can't get back. Time is something that is going to continue on regardless if you like it or not. Something that you cannot get back is your time. And the Most High was dealing with me this week because I could have utilized my time much better this week than I have done. And I didn't do it the way I should have. And in the midst of prayer this morning, He told me that, and I had to repent because I didn't utilize my time wisely. And you got to be careful what you give your time and energy to, because sometimes you can be wasting your time and energy on things that you don't even need to give it to. And then sometimes you need to give your time and energy to something else that's more important. And that's what He was telling me this week. Just be careful who you give your time and energy to, because if you sit down watching a movie that's just what you thinking is entertainment, you could be using that time to be studying more, to read more, to even just spend time with your wife. Y'all just turn the music off, the radio off, or the television off, and y'all just sit down and talk. Or go clean the yard, go clean the house. Do something productive most of the times, because the more productive you are, the better you are. But let me go ahead and get started this morning. Because you know, I want to just it's some intro. He was just dealing with this morning, but he had me to read Jeremiah, then he had me to go back to read Revelations, and then he had me to pick up. Then when I was just taking care of myself, he brought back to the mind of Maccabees, to the book of Maccabees. When he was talking to me about Maccabees and why people make decisions. And I'm trying to find Maccabees. Okay. Why people make decisions. And I understand now why people make decisions. I understand why people make decisions. And let me find it. But let us go ahead and read in Exodus chapter 20. In Exodus chapter 20 verse 1. And it reads, and it says, and El spake all these words, saying, I am Yahuwah thy El, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. And thou shalt have no other Els before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven or carved image or any likeness of anything that is in the heavens above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, Yahuwah thy El, am a jealous El, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me, and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of Yahuwah thy El in vain, for Yahuwah will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy works. But the seventh day is the Shabbat of Yahuwah thy El. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservants, nor thy maidservants, nor thy cattle, nor thy strangers that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yahuwah made heaven, earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yahuwah blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy fathers and thy mother, that thy days be long upon the land which Yahuwah thy El giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not cover thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not cover thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor. And let us do the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us of our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine to your kingdom, power to your glory, forever and ever. So let it be. Amen. Amen. Good morning, good morning, good morning, Breaking Strongholds Ministries. Good morning, YouTube. Orlando, keeping it simple. How you all doing this morning? I hope everything turned out well for you all. I hope everything is the way it's supposed to be. And I hope that the Most High is dealing with you the way you have desire for Him to deal with you. And I just hope everything is going well. This morning we'll be coming out of the book of Revelations. The book of Revelations chapter 13. The book of Revelation chapter 13. And we'll be reading from 1 through 10. 1 through 10. This morning, and the key verse is chapter 7, verse 7. The key verse is verse 7. The Most High was speaking to me in the shower this morning, so I had to get some stuff before I got started this morning. But I'm gonna go ahead and read verse 1 through 10. But I'm gonna be mainly focusing on verse 7. Be mainly focusing on verse 7. Okay? Okay, and it says, "And I stood upon the sands of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horn 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy. And the beast which I saw was like upon a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority." That is a lot within itself right now. "And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. They worshipped the dragon which gave power unto the beast. And they worshipped the beast, saying, Who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth and blasphemed against God, against El, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle, and them that dwell in heaven, or the Shemiams. It was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life, of Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and faith of the saints." And let me read the key verse again, and the key verse, and I'm going to be dealing with one word out of this verse. "It was given unto him to make war with the saints, and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations." Okay, and if I may give a title to the text this morning, the title of the teachings this morning is "We have to continue to walk righteously in the season of wickedness." We have to continue to walk righteously in the season of wickedness. Okay. The Most High gave me a couple of more other words I'm going to have to give you definition for, but y'all kind of already know. But I'm going to go to 1 Maccabees again, and I want to read something on why people make decisions. Okay. The words today is courage. Courage. It's a 13th century EC word. It means heart as the seat of emotions. Courage is the seat of emotions. It is a spirit, it's a temperament, it's a state or frame of mind. Heart, innermost feelings, temper, valor, quality of mind which enables one to meet danger and trouble without fear. Courage starts within the mind. That's what courage starts at. Courage is something that is here mentally first. You have to have mentally courage in order to be able to deal with the dangers and the challenges that you may encounter along the way. You got to be mentally courageous. You got to be mentally courageous to be able to endure or deal with the challenges that you're getting ready to encounter. Strength. Strength is a bodily power, force of vigor, firmness, or fortitude. It's a manhood, it's violence, or it's moral resistance. Let me read that over. Strength is a bodily power, force, vigor, firmness, fortitude, manhood, violence, or moral resistance. So when we understand if we are in a season of wickedness, it says we have to continue to walk righteously in the season of wickedness. How we're able to walk righteously in the season of wickedness, we have to be mentally strong. We have to be mentally strong. Or we have to be courageous or have courage. And we have to have strength. We have to be mentally and physically strong right now more than ever before. Because if we're in a season of wickedness, understanding that wickedness is not just going to come from a physical realm, it's also going to come from a spiritual realm. It's not just going to come from a spiritual realm, it's also going to come from a physical realm. So we have to be mentally, we have to be courageous, have courage mentally, but we also got to have physical strength to be able to endure what's getting ready to happen. Okay? So when we're looking at the book of Revelation, we're talking about the word revelation means to reveal, means to let your eyes be open to those who have already been written in the book of life. So when we understand that John the Revelator wrote the book of Revelations, he's talking about the end times of prophecy, not the end of the global world, but the end of Esau's rule. And he's telling you what's getting ready to happen within this time frame. He's telling you what's getting ready to happen, what's going to take place on the earth, what's going to happen to the saints, what's going to happen to the wickedness. He also told you about the 7 churches. He told you how the Messiah looks. He told you that in chapter 20 of Revelation, how you will be judged. He told you all these things. He told you what will be taking place during this time frame. And in order for us to be able to endure through this time frame, we have to have courage and strength in the midst of it. But when we dealing with, let's go to Revelation chapter 13 verse 7. And I want to deal with this one word, the first portion of this verse. It says, it was given unto him to make war with the saints. War is battle. War is conflict. War is issues. War is problems. That's what the word war means. Okay, let me give it to you out of the Strong Concordance. What the word war means. The word war means warfare, literally or figuratively, a single encounter or a series of battles, fights, and wars. A war is a battle. It's a fight. It's not just one single action. It could be on a continuous basis. So when we're looking at the beast making war against the saints, don't mean it's just going to happen one time. It's going to happen on a continuous basis. It can be in a series, a manner. So when he's making war with the saints, he wants to overcome them by having battles and wars with them. And see, he's not just going to be able to be with the saints. It's going to be with all kindreds, tongues, and nations. His job is to conquer and overcome all kindreds, all tongues, and all nations. So when we're looking at the word war, it's a conflict. It's a lot of chaos and confusion and commotion going on. Just like what we see with Russia and Ukraine and China and Taiwan and Israel and Iran and over in Syria and Damascus. All these things over here in the United States. It's a series of actions that keep going on between one counterpart and the other. Because one want to be able to overcome the other for their right or for their power. So when we're looking at this, it says it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given to him. Okay, when we're looking at this verse, that means somebody's going to be up under attack. It never said how they're going to be up under attack. It could be a spiritual or physical war. But most of the time when people are under attack or in a spiritual or physical war, their livelihood is being attacked. Their way of living is being attacked. That's what makes people be able to make the decisions they make, is because their livelihood is being attacked, oppressed. Okay? The word livelihood is a 16th century word, 10th century word. It means alteration of livelihood. It means, livelihood means means of keeping alive, course of life. Okay, it's a way, it's a course. Your livelihood is a course. It's a way you live, how you live. And see, most of the times when people are under attack or being made war against, they make decisions based on their livelihood. Whether some will give in to the attack or some will give away from the attack. Some people, if they cared about their livelihood so much during the war, either they will fight to protect their livelihood or they will give in to their livelihood. Okay? And a lot of times when people are under spiritual and physical attacks, a lot of the times they will give in to the conqueror so that they could just be able to maintain their life, not their livelihood, but their life. They'll be willing to adapt another livelihood, but they want to hold their life as an importance because they feel like they can adapt to any livelihood. That's why they're willing to give in to the war or be conquered or be turned over. Okay, and the reason why I say that, I'm going to go back to 1 Maccabees chapter 1 verse 11. And I'm going to read something. The reason why the children of Israel gave up and went into the idolatry ways of Alexander the Great is because their livelihood was taken. Okay, and it said, in those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathens that are round about us. For since we depart from them, we have had much sorrow. They have had much sorrow in their living conditions. They have had much sorrow in their livelihood. Because Alexander the Great came in with a strong arm and he was oppressing the people. So those people decided to keep their life. And when they decided to keep their life, they decided to take on the customs and the way of life of Alexander the Great and the Greeks. But the Most High said when a man decides to keep his life, he will lose his life. And that is a spiritual thing. So when we look at what happened in First Maccabees, we understand that they based their decisions on their way of living. Their livelihood was attacked by Alexander the Great. So when their livelihood was attacked by Alexander the Great, either they said we're going to continue to stay with the Most High and keep His way, so I lose my physical way of being, so that I can have a spiritual way of living. Or they said, well, I will lose my spiritual way of living so that I can keep my physical way of living. And see, now when you look at our society, when the saints came out to make war, he's making war from a physical and a spiritual attack. See, he didn't see what he did in 2019 and 2020. He attacked our livelihood. When he attacked our livelihood, people made decisions based on their livelihood being attacked. They based their decisions on whatever decision they decided to make in their life. It was based on how they wanted to live their life. It wasn't based on the Most High. It wasn't based on their theology. It wasn't based on their relationship with the Creator. It was based on how they wanted to live their life. It was based on how he wanted to live his life. It was based on how they wanted to live their life. That's what it was based on. It wasn't based on what the Most High said. It wasn't based on the word. It was based on that. That's what it was based on, how they wanted to live their life. Okay? It says, for whosoever will save his life shall lose it. And see, saving your life coming from a physical, not spiritual. Saving your life is coming from a physical realm and not necessarily a spiritual realm. It said, for whosoever will save his life shall lose it. But whosoever shall lose his life for my sake and the gospel, the same shall save it. So when we're looking at how the first beast will come to make war with the saints, he's coming to attack them spiritually and physically through their livelihood, how they live their life and the way they live their life. And whatever decision we decide to make from that point, it will say a lot about us, whether we have courage and strength, or we don't have courage, and where we don't have strength. And I want to talk a little bit about how we can overcome the war. How we can overcome the war. How we can defeat the war. How we can defeat the beast when he was attacking us. When he attacked us. And what came to mind is when the Most High sent me to Jeremiah. Let's go to Jeremiah. What came to mind is when He had me read Jeremiah 9, 10, 11, 12 this morning. Then he had me read all of the book, half of the book of Revelation. Then he said, think about Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 10. And he said, and Yahuwah said, because they have forsaken my laws which I set before them, and have not obeyed my voice, neither walked therein, but have walked after the imagination of their own heart, and after Balaam, which their fathers have taught them. Therefore thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, the El of Israel, behold, I will feed them, even this people, with woodworms, and give them water of gall to drink. So, how the Hashatan can defeat the person, or the people, or the nation of people, is with verse 14. How they defeated the people is because they have forsaken my laws, which I set before them, and have not obeyed my voice, neither walked therein. So it's something that we have to do, not do, in order for the Satan or the Hashatan to be able to defeat us in that war. It's just like when two boxers are getting ready to fight in a boxing ring. And we can go back to Revelation 13. We can go back to Revelation 13, chapter 7, verse 7. It's just like when two boxers are getting ready to fight in a boxing match, right? And one trainer tells the boxer, okay, I need you to keep your hands up, go with some lot of body punches, counter punch. If the trainers tell him to do a lot of counter punches and body punches, and if that boxer don't listen to his trainer in the midst of him getting ready to fight, the boxer cannot win the fight. So we have to understand that if we're in a battle or war, we're in a battle or war, and if we do not decide to listen to our trainer, our teacher, how can we defeat the enemy that we're fighting against? See, there are some things that we have to do in order to win the fight, win the battle, win the war. That means that we got to listen to our trainer. We got to listen to our creator, our El, in the midst of the fighting, because if we listen to him, he will help us fight the war. He will help us win the war. But if we decide not to listen to him, we will lose the war. We will lose the fight. How many times have a fighter did not listen to the trainer and won a fight? Because they go in with a fighting scheme to be able to know their opponent. Because the trainer has studied the opponent. The trainer has said, well, okay, he's weak in this area here. The trainer said he's weak in that area there. The trainer has said, well, he's weak in this way right here. So now I got to set my fighter to fight against this guy the way that I need to get him to fight. Because the way we're going to fight him is through his weakness, not through his strength. We're going to beat him on his weaknesses and not his strength. So anytime a person or a fighter give in to the opponent's strength, they always lose. Anytime we fall prey to the opponent's game plan, we lose, but they win. But this is an encouraging teaching today, because I want us to understand something. In Revelation 13:7 it says, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints. That means they're in a competition. That means they're in a battle. They're in a fight right now. We are in a fight right now. And to overcome them, that means to take them, to beat them. and power was given him over all the kindreds and tongues and nations. So this is some strategies today on how we can be able to defeat the enemy. How we can defeat the enemy, because I just showed you, just stay where you at, I just showed you in Jeremiah chapter 9, verse 13, it says, and Yahuwah said, because they have forsaken my laws, which I set before them, and have not obeyed my voice, neither walked therein. So these are the main three things, 3 points, that the reason why the children of Israel went into bondage or captivity, because they have forsaken my laws which I set before them, have not obeyed my voice, neither walked therein. So what are the strategies to defeat the enemy? What is the strategy to defeat the enemy? Okay, the first one is remember. Remember. We have to remember. The first point is remember. The word remember means to keep or bear something or someone in mind. See, when that fighter's in the ring with his opponent, when that fighter's getting ready to throw his left or right jab or the uppercut or the body punch, what got to be in that fighter's mind is what the trainer told him. What the opponent's weak points are. What he would do when he drop his right arm or when he drop his left arm. What he's telling us, okay, when he dropped that right arm, then you come with the left jab. So when your trainer told you that, and you're in the midst of getting ready to fight your opponent, you have to always remember what your trainer told you. You always got to remember what the Most High said to you. You lose when you forsake him. But when you remember, because that's what the word forsake means, is to remember. Because it says, remember means to keep or bear something in mind, retain in the memory, or preserve unforgetfulness. And it says remember means to recall or bring to mind. So we always in the midst of this fight, we always got to bring to mind or in remembrance the Most High laws. That's the first step in defeating the enemy. We got to remember that. Go to Deuteronomy. Because I used to tell people all the time, when you're in the midst of chaos or you going through something with somebody, a divorce or a bad relationship, I say, always do right. I always do right. Because at the end of the day, you will win the victory. Always do right in the midst of fighting. Don't throw no cheap shots. Don't hit him below the belt. Because the minute you hit him below the belt, you're going to get a penalty or flag. But if you're doing right within the memory, but you got to first remember. In Deuteronomy 31 and 5 through 6, it reads, and Moshe went and spake these words unto all Israel. And he said unto them, I am 120 years old this day. I can no more go out and come in. Also Yahuwah has said unto me, thou shalt not go over this Jordan. Yahuwah thy El, he will go over before you. Listen to that. He will go over before thee, and he will destroy these nations from before thee. And thou shalt possess them, and Joshua, he shall go over before thee, as Yahuwah has said. Listen to this, verse 4, 5, and 6. Yahuwah shall do unto them as he did to Shion and to Gog, kings of the Amorites, unto the land of them whom he destroyed. Yahuwah shall give them up before your face, that ye may do unto them according to all the commandments which I have commanded you. Listen to this. Verse 6, be strong, that's strength, and of good courage, that's mind. fear not, nor be afraid of them. He said, be physically and mentally strong. Don't fear them, nor be afraid of them. For Yahuwah thy El, it is that doeth go with thee. He will not leave, he will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. He said, I won't leave you or won't forget you. I won't disappoint you nor forget you. So if the Most High brought you to this point right here, we got to continue to remember his word. Remember what he just said. He said, he will not fail thee nor forsake thee. Like we forsaken him in Jeremiah, he won't do that to us. So in the midst of battle, because this is a conflict. He said in verse 3, he says, Yahuwah Da'el, he will go over before thee, and he will destroy these nations from before thee. That is a war. That is a battle. Why is he going to do that before our face? Because it says, no, he said, for he will not fail thee nor forsake thee. So the same thing that the Most High is going to do for us, we got to be able to do for him. We can't forsake his laws, statutes, and commandments. That's one thing. That's one thing we got to remember in the midst of battling. We can't forsake in the spiritual battle. We cannot forsake the Most High's laws. We cannot forsake his commandments. We cannot forsake his statutes. Let's go to 1 Chronicles. Let's go to 1 Chronicles chapter 28, verse 20. Because you got to do right in the middle of wickedness. Your doing right is doing what the Most High say do. And it says in 1 Chronicles 28 and 20, it says, and David said unto Solomon his son, be strong and of good courage, and do it. Fear not, nor be dismayed, for Yahuwah El, even my El, will be with thee. He will not fail thee nor forsake thee, until thou hast finished all the works for the service of the house of Yahuwah. He said he will not forget you. He will not fail thee or forsake thee. He will not fail thee nor forsake thee. The word fail is a primitive root to slacken in many applications, literally or figuratively. It means to abase, means to cease. Consume, draw towards evening, fail, be fainted, feeble, idle, leave. He said he will not leave thee nor forsake thee. When you're obeying the commandments of the Most High, he will not leave you in the midst of trouble. He will not forget you in the midst of trouble. That's one thing we have to understand. He will not forget us. Yes. Because he already told us what was going to happen. So when he tells us what's going to happen, do you think he's just going to throw us to the wayside? No. He will remember us just like we have to remember him in the midst of this. In the midst of the troubles that's on the brink, we have to remember his laws, statutes, and commandments. Let's go to Psalms 27 and 1. Psalms 27 and 1, and it reads, it says, Yahuwah is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Let's read that over. Let's read the first section again. First part of the verse. Yahuwah is my light and my salvation. Right here, David saying, Yahuwah is my everything. Yahuwah is my everything. If Yahuwah is my everything, who else should I fear?
That's right.
Should I fear that the Hashatan is causing war against me? Should I fear that the Hashatan is shutting down all these cities and doing all these things and trying to enforce things on me? Should I fear that? When the Hashatan, when Yahuwah is my light and my salvation?
That's right.
Because we have to understand that the Hashatan came from Yahuwah. It's just like your youngest son is being bullied by the older one, and the youngest son is putting his faith in you to protect him from the oldest. And you telling yourself, man, don't worry about that boy, I got him. That's how it is. That's how simple it is. The Most High not to tell, just like he told Satan in Job, have you considered my servant Job? And Satan, the Hashatan said, well, you got a hedge around him. I can't do nothing with him. What is that saying? And then he gave him specific instructions. He said, you can do whatever you want to with him, but just don't kill him. That's the way it's working right now. The Most High is telling the Hashatan, okay, you can deal with those who's not following my law, statutes, and commandments, but the ones who got my law, statutes, and commandments, don't touch them. That's basically what it's saying. As long as we keep or remember the law, statutes, and commandments, the Most High ain't going to let that happen to us. We got to remember them mentally first before anything else can happen. That's why Job went through. It was a testimony for Job. It was a testimony for the people, his friends. But it also is to show us that Satan don't have nothing but limited power. He can't do what he want to do. He got to do what he has permission to do. It says, Yahuwah is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Yahuwah is the strength of my life.
That's right.
Of whom shall I be afraid? He's not just my physical keeper, he's my mental keeper as well. So when we're looking at it, it's like, wow. I got to remember the Most High commandments. But if your youngest child not doing what you tell him to do, and the oldest one is messing with him, you're going to allow the oldest one to mess with him because you're going to tell your young child, I told you not to do that, and you continue to do it. So that's why he keep messing with you. When you do what I say do, he won't mess with you no more. Let's go to Hebrews 13:5. Hebrews 13:5. It reads, it says, let your conversations be without covetousness, and be content with such things as ye have. For he has said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee, so that we may boldly say, Yahuwah is my helper, and I will not fear what man shall do unto me. Remember them which have the rule over you, who have spoken unto you the words of El, whose faith follows. Consider the end of their conversations. Yahshua the HaMashiach, the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. But it's telling us that the Most High is not going to leave us nor forsake us. He did not leave Job nor forsake Job. We do most of the forsaking as the human beings. That's why we're in the conditions and the situations we're in today, because we left him and we didn't remember him. Do you? I really want to ask a personal question. Who practiced this holiday or this wicked day? What does the tree and those ornaments outside your house symbolize? What does it symbolize to you? What do you get out of it? What is the meaning of you buying that tree and putting lights on it and putting presents up on it? What is the meaning of that for you, to you? What do you get out of it? How does the Most High or Yeshua or the Messiah get out of that? What kind of acknowledgement do you get? He get out of that? Because I was telling the guy 2 weeks ago, I said, I have never seen, I tell my wife this all the time, I have never seen somebody go to somebody's birthday party and give the gift to their child. Or give the gift to somebody else. Never seen it happen. So, if this the quote-unquote day that the Christ was born on, why are you buying gifts for your children? Why are you buying gifts for your cousins, your nieces, your nephews, your aunties, your grandmas, your grandmama, your mom and your dad? Why are you buying gifts for them and not giving it to the Most High?
If it's his birthday.
If it's his birthday. So, in order to be able to defeat the war that's taking place right now, we first got to remember the Most High's law, statutes, and commandment. We got to remember who is our trainer, who is our teacher, who is our creator. We got to remember his words. Remember what he told us in the corner. Remember when, right before we was getting ready to go out to the fight, remember he said, well, you got to make sure that you keep your right hand up because he got a nice strong left jab. We got to remember that in the back of our minds because he understands the Hashatan. He understands our opponent. And he's telling us, if the right hand drop, hit him with the left jab. He's telling us that because he's telling us how to defeat our opponent. And if we don't remember what he tells us, how can we start to defeat our opponent? The second point, in the midst of this fight, Consider means to fix the mind upon the careful examinations, to meditate, to view attentively, scrutinize, not to be negligent of. When we sit down in that corner and our trainers telling us, man, remember what I'm telling you. We got to say, yeah, he's right mentally. What he's telling me to do. We can't neglect what he's saying. We can't forget what he just told us. We can't forget the advice that he gave us. We can't forget his law, statutes, and commandments. Because when we're in the ring and we're fighting, if we forget what he told us, we can easily get knocked out. We can easily be taken. Because we got to understand that we're in a spiritual war. And words are spirit, and spirit is life. So if we don't remember and take heed to what the Most High is saying to us, how can we really win the fight? If we can't keep it in our mind, how can we win the fight? No matter how hard the fight gonna be. Let's go to Proverbs. Proverbs 21. Proverbs 21 and 8. It says, Proverbs 21:7-8, and it says, the robber of the wicked shall destroy them. The robbery of the wicked shall destroy them, because they refuse to do judgment. The ways of man is forward and strange, but as for the pure, his works is right. It is better to dwell in a corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. Okay, let's go to Isaiah 55:5-8. We always got to keep in mind the words of the Most High. We got to really scrutinize. We got to keep it. Not just remember, we got to keep it down. Isaiah 55:5-8, and it says, behold, thou shalt call a nation that thou knowest not, and nations that knew not thee shall run unto thee because of Yahuwah thy El, and for the Holy One of Israel, for he has glorified thee. It says, seek ye Yahuwah while he may be found. Seek ye Yahuwah while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. Let the wicked forsake his ways, the unrighteous man his thoughts, and let him return unto Yahuwah. He will have mercy upon him, and to our El he will give abundant pardon. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither your ways my ways, saith Yahuwah. It says, for as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than yours, than your ways. My thoughts than your thoughts. It says, for as the rain cometh down and the snow from heaven, and returneth not hither, but water the earth, and maketh it bring forth the buds, and that it may give seed to the sower, and bread to the eaters. See, when a fighter is in a match, the fighter can't think the way he want to think and be able to win the fight. He got to listen to his trainer. That's a physical fight. And see, that's why he said, your ways are not my ways. See, when we're in a spiritual warfare, we can't think from a carnal mindset. We got to think from the Most High's mindset in order to be able to do what we need to do. It says again in verse 8, it says, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith Yahuwah. So we can't think the way we want to think in this spiritual fight. We can't think the way we want to think in this spiritual fight. We got to think the way the Most High wants us to think in this spiritual fight. So we got to continue to scrutinize and consider his word. We got to remember them. We got to consider them. We got to put them into play. Let's go to Hosea. Hosea 14. It says, who is wise, and he shall understand these things? It was a question. Who is wise? Then it says, he shall understand these things, pardon. And he shall know them. For the ways of Yahuwah are right, and the just shall walk in them, but the transgressor shall fall therein. When we consider his ways, we are right. When we listen to him, when that boxer listens to his trainer, he's gonna win the fight. But as soon as he decides to deviate from the plan, the mission, he gonna lose. Just like your mother used to tell you all the time, I don't told you, don't do that. Every time you don't listen to your parents and they're giving you wise advice, and you don't listen to them, you make a huge mistake. Every time you don't listen to wise counsel, you make big mistakes. But when you decide to listen to your friends, you make horrible mistakes. Because we have to understand that we are in a spiritual warfare right now. Okay? Another one, and the final one is that when we can remember his ways and we consider them, we scrutinize them, we put examination on, we meditate on his words. We just don't remember when we meditate on them. That's when we begin to walk. Walk means to live. We'll live by his word. Is it hard right now to live by his word? For some people, yes. Consider means to meditate, scrutinize. Meditate on his word day in and day out. Day in and day in and day out. Night and day. Let's go to Genesis. Because I'm going to bring you some up in just a second. I'm about to finish. Genesis chapter 26. Listen to the conditions. Genesis chapter 26, 1 through 5. Listen to the conditions. Genesis chapter 26, 1 through 5. And it says, there was a famine in the land. Hardships. There was hardships in the land. Besides the first famine that was in the days of Abraham, and Isaac went unto Amalek, king of the Philistines. And Yahuwah appeared unto him and said, go not down into Egypt. Dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of. It was a condition. Now the Most High is getting ready to give you some instructions. Okay? Conditions, then the instructions. He telling you, don't go down to Egypt. He said, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee. Then it says, sojourning in this land, and I will be with thee, and will bless thee, for unto thee, unto thy seed, I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swore unto Abraham thy father. And I will make thy seed to multiply as the sun, the stars of heaven, and will give unto thy seed all the countries. And in thy seed shall all the nations of the earth be blessed. Listen to this. He says, sojourning. In the verse 3, and it said, sojourning in this land, and I will be with thee. Sojourning in this land. Sojourning means for a lodging or for other purposes. That is, sojourning is as a guest, also to shrink fear. It says also to gather for hostility. It says abide, assemble, be afraid, dwell, fear, gather. What Most High is basically telling Isaac is right here, live in this land, and I will be with thee. That is the instructions. In order for Isaac to get the blessings, he had to listen to the instructions and walk. How you walk it, you live it. See, we can't just remember. We got to remember and meditate, and then we got to put it into action. In this time right here, right now, because it was in the land, there was a famine in the land besides the first famine that was in the first day. It was some stuff going on. And in the midst of stuff going on in our life, we got to hold strong to the word of the Most High. By living it and walking it out. Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 13, verse 12 and 13. It says, and now Israel, what doeth Yahuwah thy El require of thee? Listen, it says, what doeth Yahuwah thy El require of thee? But to fear Yahuwah thy El, to walk in all his ways, and to love him and to serve Yahuwah thy El with all thy heart and with all thy soul. We have to walk in his ways and to serve him. It says to keep the commandments of Yahuwah and his statutes which I command thee this day for thy good. Do you hear that? Which I command thee this day for your good. You doing his commandments, you in his ways, and you keep it, and you serving him. It's for your benefit, not his. It is for your benefit that you do what he tell you to do. Just like it's the boxer's benefit to listen to the trainer. Just like it's the child benefit to listen to the parent. And do what they say do because they only have nothing but love for you and want the best for you. I never seen a trainer give a boxer bad advice. It's like shooting himself in the foot. Revelations 22 and 14. We're going to go to verse 12 first. (22 and 12, 13, 14). It reads, and behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me. And my reward is with me. And my reward is with me, to give every man according to his work shall be. I am the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last. Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gate into the city. For without are dogs, or sorcerers, or whoremongers, or murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie. He said in verse 12, and my reward is with me. What reward would you get? Would you get the blessings or the curses? Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gate into the city. Okay? So let me go back to Revelation 13 and 7. Let me do something. For it is given unto him to make war with the saints. Understand saints. The ones that's keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. To overcome them. To defeat them. And power is given him over all kindreds, tongues, and nations. How we can win the war is we got to remember, mental, consider, meditate, mental. Then we physically do it. We got to put it into action. What war are we getting ready to go into? Let me read you a couple of things. What things did we get ready to go into? Okay, this article came out December the 23rd, 2021. And I'm not gonna read it, it's a video. It says Swedish startup marks microchips that stores passport and gym memberships. Y'all heard that? Go to Richmond.com news. It's talking about also another article. Hold on, yeah. Go to Yahoo News. It says microchip allow you to carry your passport under your skin. This is December the 21st, 2021. It says a Swedish company. You can get it better on Yahoo News. This article came out on Tuesday, December the 21st, 2021. It says a Swedish company has come up with a microchip that can be inserted under the skin so that the users can carry their passport in their arms. Okay? This is a conflict that we're getting ready to have. This is a war. Another one. CNN News. CNN Travel News. This article came out December 22nd, December 21, 2021. It says, unlocking the world. DC joined other major U.S. tourist cities, turning to indoors and testing centers or requirements. DC joined other major U.S. tourist cities, turning to indoor testing requirements. Okay? I didn't say the words. Okay, let me give you the cities that have joined. New York. Boston. Boston mayor has announced on December the 20th that her city will be requiring proof for indoor dining, fitness, venues, and theaters and arenas. The requirement will apply to patrons and employees and will come online in phases. That's in Boston. I'm sure everybody heard about Chicago. The next third largest city will require proof for businesses that serve food or drink starting January the 3rd. The new requirement will be in effect for anyone 6 and older at restaurants, gyms, theaters, bars, and other entertainments and sporting venues that serve foods and drinks, she said in a news conference. Los Angeles. All customers served in an indoor part of a food or beverage establishment and other types of venues must show proof for entrance. Enforcement began on November 29. New Orleans. Anyone 12 and older must have proof or a negative or positive results to enter indoors, restaurants, bars, music halls, indoor sporting arenas, casinos, and other entertainments. New York City, we already know about that. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The requirement is set to go into effect starting January 3rd. For the first 2 weeks of the requirement, January 3rd through the 17th, may accept proof of results within the 24 hours. Starting January the 18th, only everybody may enter. Among the types of establishment covered by the requirement, indoor restaurant spaces and bars, cafes within museums, catering halls and food courts, and entertainment venues. San Francisco, Seattle requires patrons 12 and under must show proof of results to enter restaurants, bars, indoor sporting activities, and outdoor sporting events. More than 500 people. DC. And I Googled this morning the attendance for one football game with the Seattle Seahawks is 67,000 people, 68,000 people. 68,000 people who enter those venues must have requirement of proof or whatever what the situation is. That's a lot of people. That's just for one sporting event. You don't think that we're up under a war right now, spiritual and physical war right now? They try. See, when you're at war, the competitor is trying to take away what you love, how you live, your livelihood. In order for them to defeat you, they got to take away something that you're used to doing and helping you to win the fight. See, in First Maccabees, the reason why they gave in because their livelihood was affected. The reason why people gave in because their livelihood was affected. Not realizing that they was under a spiritual war. So they gave in into the fight. So when they gave into the fight, that means that they lost the spiritual war. Because they did what their opponent wanted them to do. So sometimes, no, not sometimes, but in this case here, in order for us to win this fight, we got to remember and meditate on the Most High and do what He say do. Only the strong gonna survive. He said, it says, he that endures to the end shall be saved. How are you going to be able to endure to the end is that you do the will of the Most High. You can't do what you want to do. You can't do what scientists say do. You can't do what your friends say do. You can't do what the doctors say do. You can't do what your pastors say do. You can't do what nobody say do. You got to do what the Most High say do right now. You got to do what the Most High say do. You can't do what you want to do. You got to do what the Most High say do. So, I'm going to close with this and just say, you know, hey, we have to continue to walk righteously in the season of wickedness. How are we going to walk righteously? We got to have courage and strength. Courage is a mental thing. Strength is a physical thing. Because some people's jobs may be jeopardized. Their job is your livelihood. The sports bars, the restaurants, the theaters are your livelihood. They are attacking your livelihood in order for them to get you to do what they want you to do. They're attacking your livelihood. Sports bars, restaurants, entertainment venues, theaters. That's part of our livelihoods. They shut down churches. livelihoods. That's how the opponent wins. That's how he defeats you. It's by attacking everything that you love and taking it away from you so you can give in to it. And if you don't pay attention to that, you're gonna wind up falling prey. Just like the people in Maccabees, they fell prey because their conditions were strained and hard. And they didn't want to deal with that type of condition no more. So let me close out with a prayer, but let me say something to you. We have to continue to walk righteously in the season of wickedness. We have to have courage, which is a mental state, and strength is a physical state. We got to remember the Most High words. We got to meditate on His words, and we got to walk in His word. That's why He got on me this week, because I felt empty because I didn't meditate as much as I should have. What I was doing, I shouldn't have been doing, but what I should have been doing, I wasn't doing. So I understand. So I'm going to close out with a prayer, and I just hope everybody have a nice Shabbat. I hope you continue to meditate on His word and do what He said will do. Because it's difficult times for people right now. It's difficult. Because we're torn from the old world to the new. The old world is the ways of the heathens. The new world is the way of the Most High. See, some of us want to go back. Some of us on the fence. Some of us is full-fledged. For those who want to go back and on the fence, man, it's hard. Everybody around them having dinners and sharing gifts. Just being around, they propping it up. That's all I see on my phone. Happy, 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 merry, merry, merry. And you want to give in to it sometime, but you can't. But let me pray and let you go. But stand strong today on the word. Abba, as we come to you today, we thank you, we bless you, we praise you, we give you all the honor and the glory. Abba, we ask that you give us strength and courage in this season. Not just this season of paganism, but in this season of wickedness. Abba, as we see more and more every day that we see that more cities are implementing restrictions on our livelihood to convict us to make decisions that goes against your law, statutes, and commandments. So Abba, we ask that you help us and guide us and lead us and direct our path. We ask that you help us to continue to remember your word, to meditate on your word, and to keep your word in our actions. Abba, we need you more than ever before, because this moment here that we never experienced before. We always heard of it. We read it, but we never thought it would come to fruition in our lifetime. We never thought that we would be at this moment. We never thought that we would see everything that you said would come true. We thought there would be someone else along the way. But Abba, we're here. You said your word shall not go out and come back void. So Abba, we see your word coming to fruition, but we ask that you help us mentally with courage, physically with the strength to endure. You have prepared us for this moment, Abba, so we ask that you help us to walk in it. We ask that you continue to bless us and continue to cover us. Bless us with a healthy mind and a healthy body. Bless us with a happy family that keeps your laws, statutes, and commandments. Bless us by giving us the strength to walk away from this world and just cling on to the people that's following your laws, statutes, and commandments. I will forgive our ancestors for the sins that they have committed. Forgive us for the sins that we have committed. But I will let it wake us up in the middle of the night when we see that the storms are coming and you want us to flee. Protect us as we travel the highways and byways going to and from the destination. But also I will give us the strength and the wisdom to understand your word. Let us see the way you want us to see, hear the way you want us to hear, and speak the way you want us to speak, Abba. In all these things we pray. In your name, in Yahuwah name, or Yahuwah name we pray. So let it be. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Happy Shabbat. And have a blessed one, okay?
I know you're trying to do right, but you're surrounded by some people that's evil, and they wanna see your downfall. Cause you're in this truth and they don't care at all. They wanna cause you to stumble, lose your temper, come down to their level. You just really need to move out their way, cause that person being used by the devil. If you wanna live upright on the righteous path, you have to separate yourself from evil and wickedness. Separate yourself from evil and wickedness. And if you wanna seek the Most High and see His salvation and live righteously, separate yourself. Separate yourself from evil and wickedness. Proverbs chapter 2, verse 11 through 15. Decretion shall preserve thee, understanding shall keep thee, to deliver thee from the way of the evil man, from the man that speaketh forward things, who leave the paths of uprightness, to walk in the ways of darkness, who rejoice to do evil, and delight in the forwardness of the wicked, whose ways are crooked, and they are forward in their paths. You said you want peace and joy and love all around. Take a look at your environment.